It happened quite by accident. The glass slipped from my hand and crashed onto the floor. Before I could even blink, my wife's voice pierced the air like an arrow. "You always break glasses." Always I wondered. In 15 years of marriage, I had broken exactly one glass, and that too during our early honeymoon days. Can something that has happened only twice in 15 years be called always? But women, you see, have their own mysterious laws of logic, their own private grammar of exaggeration. And the accusation of always was not confined to glass breaking. It's been generously applied to many of my most innocent acts. "You always leave the bathroom tap open. Though that might have happened 3 or 4 times in 15 years. You always lose the cupboard key. That happened once. You always forget to put petrol in the car. That has never happened. The car merely broke down once, but Madam concluded the petrol had finished." Now, if this always were just a figure of speech, I wouldn't mind. But no, my wife applies it with absolute conviction, except in those rare cases where it would actually be true. For example, every first of the month I hand over my full salary to her. Always. But not once in 15 years have I heard her say, "You always bring me your salary, my dear." No, instead she sighs dramatically. "Oh God, when will the month end so I can see a few pennies again?" Likewise, I take her to the cinema every week, without fail. But rather than acknowledging this consistency, she complains, "It's been a whole week since we watched a movie." Strange, isn't it? Her favorite word always suddenly disappears when it might have worked in my favor. One evening while I was smoking in the drawing room, a bit of ash accidentally fell on the carpet. My wife immediately cried out, "You always drop ash on the carpet." I calmly explained, "My dear, I may have dropped it occasionally, but if I truly did that always, considering I smoke 40 cigarettes a day, there would be about 11 tons of ash piled up in this drawing room by now. It would look more like a coal depot than a home." Did she apologize? No. She said, 11 tons really? Then thank goodness I clean the carpet every day. And she even took credit for the imaginary ash she had never swept. A few days later, my car broke down after office hours. I took a bus home, and the moment I stepped inside, she shouted, "You always walk in with muddy shoes." That was the final straw. I made a decision, a very wise one. From that day onward, I truly always drop ash on the carpet, every single day. I always leave the bathroom tap open. I always misplace the keys just for the pleasure of watching her flustered face. And whenever I find a patch of mud, I make sure to step in it before entering the drawing room. Now, instead of "you always," her new favorite line is, "You never used to do this before." Progress. At least her grammar has improved. And I promise I'll stop all this mischief, but not too soon. After all, lessons in grammar must be properly learned. It was the first time Daniel had left his father at an old-age home. As he drove back home, silence sat beside him like a ghost. Halfway down the road, his phone rang. It was his wife. Her voice was calm but firm. "Daniel, you need to go back," she said. "I was wrong earlier. Go tell your father that he must stay there permanently. He shouldn't come home even for celebrations or birthdays." Daniel sighed. Without a word, he turned the car around and drove back to the home. When he entered, he was surprised. His old father was sitting with the elderly owner of the home, laughing warmly, as if they were lifelong friends. Daniel's heart filled with suspicion. How could they know each other? After his father went to his room, Daniel approached the owner and asked quietly, "Sir, I couldn't help but notice you seemed very familiar with my father. Have you met before?" The old man smiled gently and said, "Yes, I have known him for almost 40 years. He's one of the kindest souls I ever met. In fact," his voice softened, "40 years ago he adopted a little orphan boy from my shelter." Daniel froze. A strange chill ran through him. The man continued, "If I'm not mistaken, that boy he adopted is standing right in front of me." The words hit Daniel like lightning. His throat closed, his eyes filled. He was that orphan. The man he had just abandoned was the same man who had given him a life. He ran to his father's room, tears flooding his eyes, and fell at his feet. "Father, forgive me. I forgot your love. I forgot who you are." His father's frail hands lifted him gently. "My son," he whispered, "you never needed to ask for forgiveness. I forgave you before you even left." Daniel wept in his father's arms, the weight of 40 years of love returning all at once. He took his father home that very evening, not out of guilt, but out of the purest love a son could feel. Moral: a father's love is beyond condition. Even when the world forgets, a father forgives. Never let temporary voices silence the eternal bond of love that gave you life.